What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So in this video, I am taking on the Supersetman Top 5 Comparison Challenge. Some of you may have seen this challenge put out by Supersetman on his channel.
I am not sure how to evaluate this comparison right here, so I decided to challenge other channels I follow, other bodybuilding channels on YouTube, to cover this comparison as well.
So I decided to message Supersetman on Instagram and take on this challenge myself. So far, we've seen Mark's Max Muscle and Go Fitness take on this challenge. Nick Strength and Power also commented on a couple of the images. And look, I understand what Supersetman is getting at here. With the conversation around what the judging criteria actually is right now, being that aesthetics seem to be awarded more so than sheer muscle and conditioning, who can we expect to be winning in these comparisons based on what we, the YouTube bodybuilding community, consider proper judging criteria? Well, Bob Cicherillo has continuously said that it's not the individual body parts being assessed, it's the body overall while in that particular pose. So I'm going to judge based on that. Thanks to Supersetman for putting out this challenge, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Now, keep in mind here, you guys, we have the Olympia version of Nick Walker. Since many consider this to be a superior version compared to the Arnold version, we have Andrew and Samson from the Arnold Classic for the same reasons, and we have Hadi and Derek from the 2022 Olympia. So, let's get into it here. Alright, so we're going to start off with the front double bicep here. Now, to me, Andrew really jumps out at me initially, as he seems to have the best combination of shape, conditioning, aesthetics, and flow, I find. I would give this pose to Andrew Jack first. Not everybody would agree with that, but man, he just looks great in this pose. After Andrew, Nick has the most impressive set of arms, but you know, his overall flow is definitely lacking compared to some of the other guys in the lineup. But man, you can't deny that superior conditioning from the front, you know, as compared to Hadi and Derek, especially in these shots. I think Samson looks really good here too, since his combination of conditioning, symmetry, and aesthetics is probably second to Nick in my opinion. I would probably then have Derek in fourth place. I mean, his X-frame is very impressive, his arms in midsection are very impressive, and he does have good flow in this pose. It really comes down to conditioning. And you know what? I just never really thought this was a great pose for Hadi. I think that all the other guys really beat him in this pose, so I would have Hadi in fifth place. In the front lat spread, now look, we all know that this is not Nick's pose. Nick is taking fifth in this shot. Let's just get that out of the way. My eyes actually go to Samson in this pose. Partly because of his height, he does tower over the likes of Derek and Hadi, and I think he does look wider than the other three guys left in this comparison. Andrew's imbalance in the lats here don't do him any favors, but you know, his midsection and legs, I think do make him stand out a fair bit as compared to Derek, you know, especially. Derek's chest and shoulders look, I don't know, kind of smaller in comparison in this pose. His midsection looks washed out, but you know, Hadi overall, I think looks like he has great symmetry, flow, his shoulders and arms stand out, flaring lats, so I would have Hadi in second place in this pose. Followed by Andrew Jack, and then Derek Lunsford. Derek just lacks the separation that Andrew has in the front shot here. I really like Andrew better. Even with the lat imbalance, you know, I'm going to chop that up to bad timing on this picture or some sort of cramping issue. A lot of people are, but that's how I see it when it comes to the front lats. In the side chest, this is where Nick makes up some ground. He has superior conditioning, his legs match his upper body very well from the side. His chest and arms are popping, really nice hamstring drop, so this is Nick's pose to win for sure. I think after that, I would give second place in this pose to Hadi Choopan, similar to the reasons you would give first place to Nick. You know, Hadi is really popping through the chest and arms, the striations in the chest are there for sure, and the separation in the side leg is very impressive. I think after that, I would probably give it to Derek. Even though he lacks some striations through the chest, his upper body size and separation, as well as his overall flow, kind of makes up for it. And it really makes it good enough for third place for me. After that, I would have Samson in fourth, and I'd say Andrew in fifth. If Andrew's wheels matched his upper body, maybe with a bit better execution of the pose as well, he'd be placing much higher in this pose. He's really got to like sit down on that hamstring a little bit more. Now, turning to the back, I think things definitely get a bit more interesting here. Although Andrew is much improved from the Olympia, he still lacks the separation needed in the lower body to really be competitive. Although I will say the separation in the upper body is definitely better. Samson is also just, you know, on the edge of being separated enough. He does have decent flow in this shot, but I would give Samson fourth place. So it's between Nick, Derek, and Hadi. And you know, I really like the look of Derek in this pose. In terms of conditioning, symmetry, flow, and aesthetics in general, I think Derek takes this one. He can hang in the size department with Hadi and Nick from the back in this pose too. But after that, Nick is definitely in second place. The bicep peaks for Nick are very, very impressive. Definitely the best in the lineup. I almost want to give this pose to Nick, to be honest with you, but we're talking about an overall package here. So I'm going to go with Derek in first, Nick in second, and Hadi in third. In the back lat spread, we do yet again see another very impressive pose for Derek Lunsford. He has a lot of depth in his back on this pose, He's the most conditioned in the lower body, and although Hadi and Nick may have a little bit of lat width on them, I think in terms of an overall package, again, Derek is taking this pose in my eyes, After Derek, I would say Hadi is next in line to win this pose. His width and conditioning is right there next to Derek, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys would automatically give this pose to Nick Walker, but honestly, and again, this might just be an execution thing in this shot, but it looks like Nick is like raising up his shoulders, and that takes away from a bit of the width that we know he could be displaying. I know I look past some potential execution things with Andrew jacked in the front lat spread, but I just can't look past it with Nick here. That's just my honest opinion, you guys. And Andrew definitely needs to work on this pose. I have Andrew in 5th place for sure. Now, Samson, he does look good. The balance between upper and lower body is very good, but it's just not enough to defeat Nick or Hadi. So I would say Derek in first, Nick in second, then I would have it Hadi, Samson, and Andrew jacked. Now, in terms of execution, Andrew just isn't hitting this one as well as he really could. The side leg needs work too. So, Andrew, I think I have last in this pose. I would give this pose overall to Nick Walker. He hits this one like a master, and overall, he has great balance and flow in this shot. Not bad for a guy who's considered to have the weakest midsection in this lineup, I think after Nick, you would probably have to go with Hadi. His separation is undeniable, Derek looks overall too smooth in the upper body to me. So I would say that Derek would have to take 4th, and I would put Samson in 3rd, even though I do think that Samson looks pretty good in this pose. It's just not enough to defeat these other guys. Now, in the abs and thigh, Andrew jacked comes alive in this shot. The separation in the legs, the streamlined midsection, he definitely has the best overall package, I think. Best abs in the game right now for sure. So Andrew's taking 1st place in the abs and thigh. Now, it's been pointed out a number of times, but this is actually the abs and thigh shot from Nick at the 2021 Arnold Classic, but I actually think he looks pretty good in this one. The separation in the wheels look great. You can really see how deeply cut the abs are here, and he really has that in every abs and thigh shot that you see from him. The waistline isn't as streamlined as the other 3 guys, though. Derek's midsection looks great, but I don't think he's hitting this one with a ton of confidence in this shot. Having one leg slightly forward isn't something that I really like either. Samson's doing the same thing, and it's hard to judge symmetry with execution like this for me. Hadi looks great overall, though. Good balance, good separation, midsection looks good. His midsection looks smaller than Nick's, actually. So I would put Hadi in 2nd, Nick is in 3rd, and look, this is kind of a coin toss, but I would have Derek in 4th and Samson in 5th. I think Derek's midsection looks a little bit better than Samson in this one. And yeah, Andrew jacked, hands down the winner in my opinion. So, last pose up is the most muscular. Probably the best pose for all of these guys. Even Andrew jacked looks pretty comparable. Samson's balance really jumps out at me though. I think the shape of his legs is really what makes the difference. His quad sweep is just a bit more round than the other guys in this shot. You can see it getting closer to the hip tie-in. I know I talk about that a lot. But look, some of you guys may not agree with me, but in terms of an overall package, I really like Samson in the most muscular. Second on this one, I think would be Nick Walker. I mean, Nick is the most muscular guy on the stage, But in terms of an overall package, he needs to bring up the legs. He does fare out better from the front in this shot, but I have Nick in 2nd. So I would have to give Hadi the next shot after Nick, I think. The striations in the chest are just unbelievable. Honestly, you guys, though, Andrew jack's separation is impressing me too. I would actually put Andrew ahead of Derek in this shot. Derek is just lacking the separation through the upper body. And when all things are more or less equal, you gotta look at conditioning. Derek's abs are also the most washed out in this shot too, so I would have it Samson, Nick, then Hadi, Andrew, and Derek. So look guys, tallying up all the scores, I have Andrew Jacked in 5th place with 29 points, and Andrew was much improved since the Olympia, but he just needs to fill out overall some more. I have Derek Lunsford in 4th place with 25 points, and Derek just needs to bring up that deep separation from the front. He definitely won the back shots, I mean pretty much hands down in my opinion, but he needs to dial in from the front. In 3rd place, I have Samson Dauda with 24 points, so just squeaking past Derek. Samson looked great overall, but he was giving up some conditioning from the back into the side, so that's where Samson ended up in 3rd place, I think. Now, as for 1st place and 2nd place, it was a tight race between Hadi and Nick. One had 22 points, one had 20 points. So, who's the winner in my opinion? Well, I have Nick Walker winning this one, you guys. 20 points for Nick. Nick did get ahead of some guys on conditioning and size, especially from the side and the back. He may not have won every pose, but he was high enough up in the points to have the least amount at the end of the day. Now look, our current Mr. Olympia, Hadi Choopan, he had great balance of muscularity, flow, and conditioning, but it just wasn't enough to be able to take over Nick. And you know what? I actually looked around. That's actually myself, Marks Max Muscle, Goat Fitness, and Supersetman, who all had Nick winning in every single comparison. So, does that say anything about how we as the bodybuilding analysts are perceiving the current state of judging criteria? You know what? I actually think it does. I think it does. And I think that this is really going to be interesting when it comes to the Olympia, because we know that the Arnold Classic is judged just a little bit differently than other shows. Aesthetics are awarded. But when it comes to the Olympia, well, if some of these guys show up off, Nick can get past guys, especially if he brings up them legs. But in terms of this comparison, I think Nick is the overall winner. So listen, you guys, leave me a comment down below. What do you guys think? Did we get it right here? Did I get it right here? Would you guys have seen things differently? If you would, let me know down below in the comments section. How would you guys have seen it? Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you again to Supersetman. I'll definitely be a part of any of these that he puts out in the future. Thank you for tuning into EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.